What's up, everyone? Warren Hayes once again coming at you tonight with all the classic sounds to guide you through a lovely Monday evening. Probably had a hard day at work. Probably had a really rough time today, but we're gonna take it easy, and I'm gonna take care of you, guide you through this evening with some soothing sounds of professional wrestling talk, because that's what we do here on stream on WRNH 92.3. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? It's Monday. It is Monday. Brand new week. Who the hell would have thought that we would be still, with this brand new week, still talking top to bottom about contract news? Like this being the biggest news of everything. But this is where we're at. But hey, hope you all had a lovely weekend. Hope it was nice and wonderful. I did a weekend of at least on Saturday, I did a weekend of rewatching mob movies. So that was fun. Godfather Part 2, specifically, Casino. Those are two fucking long movies. It's like, it'll reduce the number of things you consume, but your watch time is through the roof. I did that and finished up the volume 1 of Absolute Wonder Woman. I can't tell you enough how much this Absolute universe, DC universe, is tremendous. And quite frankly, I think I like the Wonder Woman comic the most so far. And as much as I like the Batman one, I think I like that one better than Batman. It's really it's outstanding what they've done with the reimagining of Wonder Woman in this one. Because on top of everything, on top of all of her usual stuff, she's a wizard. She knows magic. She was taught magic. It's really fucking good. It's really good. Trust me, Convoy. It is such a departure of the tone of Absolute Batman. It is a complete departure of that tone. It sort of took me sideways, and some great it has some great visual storytelling. It's a phenomenal. The first volume, issues 1 to 6, highly recommended. Highly recommended. I think I like him more than the Batman. Hey, you know what? I heard that the Absolute Green Lantern is tremendous. There's something else that you can add to your. Apparently, it's really fucking good. So that's probably gonna be next up for me. I'm pushing back the Superman mostly because I already know pretty much everything that happens in Absolute Superman, so I'm sort of pushing it back. The Green Lantern is my next one on my list, because I hunted down the Martian Manhunter one, which apparently is really weird, and I'm really excited to read it, especially knowing that it's really weird. Look, this Absolute universe got me back into reading superhero comics. I was bored for a long time, but this has got me back into it. I think the stories so far are all tremendous. And here's what I think the difference is between the main difference, because I spoke about it with a friend who is also like a lapsed comic fan. And I was talking about the Wonder Woman comic to him, and I had talked to him previously about the Batman one. And I think here's the thing with the Batman, with the Absolute Batman, is that we've seen. I think we've seen more than enough like different interpretations of Batman and Bruce Wayne over the years that this one feels just like, oh, well, it's another, you know, kind of, it's another interpretation, right? I mean, the twists are interesting, don't get me wrong, right? And we're gonna ride this new lore for a while, you know. Alfred Pennyworth being a Black Ops merc, Martha Wayne surviving, you know, not dying in a shooting, Batman being just a construction worker, right? And it's all things that are interesting and I think can lead to interesting places. And the Joker being, well, I don't want to spoil anything about the Joker because I was completely floored. So, you know, it's like there's things in place where you're like, oh, this is all really interesting. But the way they handled Wonder Woman, it's more than, oh, she has 3 lassos instead of 1 now. You know, she does have 3 lassos, by the way. But you know, instead of just being gimmicky, you really feel a tremendous depth to it. You really feel like there's an emotional investment, and it's a different overall interpretation of Diana Prince, even in how she carries herself. So it's all really, really interesting. I'm really looking forward to pushing forward into this these series. I'm really into it. I'm surprised at how much I'm into it. So apparently the Green Lantern is really good and the Martian Manhunter is really weird, and that's my next one. Very difficult to find, was sold out. Thank you. Big shout out to my girl Kristen who found it for me in the United States and will be shipping it to me. So that's tremendous. And yeah, and then I think the next one I'm going to get into is the Green Lantern stuff. Very, very much looking forward to it. Very looking forward to it. Anyway, so that's the long and short of it. Got a busy stream tonight, so you know I don't want to spend too much time on the warm up. So let's head on over and say hello to Meggie O'Kenna. Nice to see you, Meggie. Welcome to the chat. Also, Meggie happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. By the way, I was asked on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel in the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord, because there's a show channel to just talk about show-related things. I was asked, what would it take to do a weekly TNA Impact show review here on the channel? And the answer to that is very simple, and I will make it public for everyone who is not necessarily in the channel. 100 members on the channel will get me to commit to a 100 to a weekly, I should say, a weekly TNA Impact show review. There you go. I mean, if my mental health is going to struggle, might as well get paid for it, right? Silver Apocalypse, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Member of the channel as well, such as DJ Convoy 2. Nice to see you and welcome, pal. Also member of the channel on top of that. Thank you, Zach McGibbon, who is here. I appreciate you. Good to see you. Zach, who just recently called an NHL game. Like for real. Like not just, you know, live streaming it on Twitch and doing the voiceover. No, like actually getting paid to do it. Congratulations, Zach. You are the best broadcaster of them all. Very happy for you, my man. Do me a huge personal favor. Just do the Trey Miguel news and move on. I'm sick of internet sleuths hyperfixating on it. I got it. I got you. Don't worry. We're not going to go super duper deep. I don't know. Let's see. Anakin JMT, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also member of the channel. It's very nice to see you, buddy. This is nice to see Sports and Things shows, our boy Carlos. How are you doing? Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you and welcome. Absolute greater than ultimate, talking about the Marvel Ultimate series, right? Which apparently is also very good. But yeah, look, I can't commit all over the place, and I've always had a penchant for DC Comics personally over Marvel. That's just been me my whole life. I wish they'd bring back like Vertigo comics, but the Vertigo comics that I knew, although you probably couldn't bring back Sandman now that Neil Gaiman is canceled. And do we think Alan Moore would like to do a proper Swamp Thing series again? Probably not, right? It'd probably just be more work, just be more of a hassle than anything else. DGMC, nice to see you and welcome. Also left a super chat and also is a member of the chat. Thank you so much. Yo, Speedball kind of called me racist on Saturday. What? Why? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? DGMC, what did you do to Speedball Mike Bailey? Why are you harassing French Canadians? What is wrong with you? What have we ever done to you? I know we ask that question every day, you know. And how do you get called kind of racist? I agree. You know, we need to know now at this point. Vertigo is back, but like, are we bringing back like the seminal Vertigo titles like Hellblazer, which was my favorite Vertigo title? The entire arc. The entire arc was with John Constantine having lung cancer. It was just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal writing. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. That's why like all the Constantine adaptations sort of make me grit my teeth. I suggested the name for the new trio's champs to be French Chocolate Cowboys. Jesus Christ, DGMC. What the fuck? Jesus Christ, man. What the absolute fuck, brother? Oh my God. Yeah, no, I kind of endorse old Speedball there. The FCC ain't nothing to fuck with. That's right. AEW1, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. Also member of the channel. In absolute Mr. Warren Hayes, he's a Joshi fan who spits chewing tobacco into an empty pop bottle on stream. There's my Halloween costume for next year. There you go. Or this year. It's October. My money is on Jet Steed. I had, was it Joe Gagne who, I think it was, who tweeted out, he tweeted out, Air Horse 1, and I thought that was awesome. That'd probably be the one I'd go for. Air Horse 1 is infinitely funny. No one has laid claim to Hellblazer yet. I mean, the thing is that the thing is that didn't they merge the universes, right, during one of the crisis events or whatever the fuck, right? That's why you know, John Constantine can be in the same universe as Dr. Manhattan now, because it's all like a shared universe now. And I think that, you know, it's stupid. You know, Dr. Manhattan doesn't have to be, you know, he's not supposed to be like in a real superhero universe. He's a critique Anyway. So how do you do that then? Do you do the do you do the thing where you start up a new Hellblazer with new things, but then all the charm of John Constantine isn't there? Like the you know, the rugged aging punk John Constantine, you know, the chain smoker. He doesn't even chain smoke anymore. Like, what the fuck, dude? You know, the self-destructive John Constantine that we all loved and cared for. Absolute WarrenHayes definitely sounds like something Dark Side. That Dark Side would think. Yeah, I agree. That was the Doomsday Clock event. Is that what that was? Okay. So like I said, I've been, you know, following from very, very afar. You know, very, 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 very far. How long before Zack Snyder does a Doomsday Clock live action adaptation? Does it behind James Gunn's back? And the Creature Commandos, you know, they're in the same universe as the Sandman. Constantine was pretty good in Justice League Dark, I'm sure. But my issue, and again, like, this is just from a guy who read the comics in the 90s when I was a young adult and I was all into all sorts of stuff, as opposed to now, which is just pro wrestling and plants. The idea of John Constantine like hobnobbing with costumed superheroes just like boggles my mind. Like, he doesn't share the same timeline. He doesn't share the same universe, you know, kind of thing. It's not like he's not supposed to be running around doing things with Batman or whatever, you know. It's like, no, he's not supposed to be fighting, I don't know, Scarecrow, whoever the fuck, right? You know, he hangs out with, you know, the demon Etrigan, right? That's what he does. You know, maybe he makes out with Zatanna a little bit, you know, and everyone's okay with that. You know, we're fine with that. But, you know, he's not universe hopping, going to fucking, you know, Apocalypse or whatever. And, you know, you don't do that with John Constantine. Constantine's you know, he's a dude. He's fucked up. He doesn't necessarily like what he is. And, you know, I mean, that's all I'm saying. It's more of a context thing more than, oh no, he works in this. It's like, I don't doubt it. It's just, he's not supposed to be there. That's all, you know. See, this is a good comp. It's like Punisher hobnobbing with Marvel superheroes. It doesn't work. That's an excellent comp. Convoy's kind of on my side. Okay, there you go. So, yeah. I did hear Keanu was doing Constantine too, and it gets a pass because we all love Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves is great. I'm gonna tell you, if anything ever comes out that forces Keanu Reeves to be canceled, I think it will be the seminal element that will bring down society. I think from that point on, I will stop liking anything. I will not be able to like anyone or anything moving forward if ever Keanu Reeves is canceled. That'd go just too far. That'd just go too far. Exactly. I think you summed it up. This is what I was trying to say earlier. Constantine is a con man. I hate seeing him do Dr. Fate, Dr. Strange stuff. I want him tricking demons, not shooting beams. Exactly. You want him to be able to trick the devil himself, which is what he's done. That's his thing. He has no cardio. He smokes like 6 packs a day. The guy's shot. Physically, he's shot. He's not running around, saving the world. That's not what he's for. That's not what he's about. Anyway. Counterpoint, Daredevil with Punisher was gold. Yes, I like that. William Davis, nice to see you and welcome. Daredevil kind of has that separation too, though. He should. Like, that's the thing. It's like you have the ground level heroes. That's the thing, right? In Marvel, you have the ground level heroes, the street level heroes. I guess, we should be calling them, right? I think Punisher shouldn't be running he should, or even Daredevil, he shouldn't be like bouncing around in Infinity War, right? And he wasn't, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't. We need to keep that going, right? Mr. Antox, nice to see you and welcome. Keanu is uncancelable. Anyone that survived the Matrix resurrection should be Teflon. He survived a couple of odd decisions. But man, if it wasn't for John Wick, let me tell you. Anyway, I didn't even want to go this long with the warm up, but I'm glad we're having some fun little back and forth chat, and I hope you're into it. I hope you're excited for a good time tonight. I know I am. And we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get our Monday off on the right foot, even though it's already been hours. We got to get things going. We're excited about stuff and things. It's a good time. And we're going to continue having a good time. So, let's do the typical little housekeeping spiel that I like to do, where I remind you that the Mr. Warren Hayes Show podcast comes out every Wednesday and it'll be coming out this week. And on the podcast, there will be a TNA on AMC debut review. It's already available right now for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. It's out there. Some of you have listened to it. I know. But if you want to get on it right now and you're wondering what the hell Warren had to say about it that he hadn't talked about already during the live watch party last Thursday. Well, yeah, I have some extra thoughts to do it because look, it's like I say when I'm starting off the review. I legitimately debated with myself as to whether or not I should do a review. Because first of all, the show stank. And I felt like I already did my part doing the watch party and giving you all my instant reactions. But then the next day, which is always what I do, right? I always have a tendency, most of the time anyway, let's say 90% of the time, I will do a review the next day because I like to sleep on it. I like to just let thoughts ferment overnight, then wake up the next morning. And sometimes there's things that pop into my head and I'm like, oh, I'd like to talk about this. This is what we should talk about. This is a good theme. So guess what happened? The next morning on Friday, I wake up and I'm like, oh shit. There's all this stuff I'd like to talk about that I didn't talk about during the live stream because, whatever. But I didn't record. But then I was like, no, I can't do this. So I didn't record anything on Friday. I'm like, I can't do this. This is just making me upset. I don't want to do this again. And then I had such a lovely Saturday. I wasn't going to interrupt it, with nonsense. And then Sunday, I'm doing stuff and it's eating at the back of my head. And it's like, no, Warren, you have to do this. You say you hang around and you watch all sorts of pro wrestling and you wanted to watch the TNA on AMC debut because it was a big seminal moment for TNA and it will end up being one of the biggest events of the year, one of the big news items of the year. You have to watch it. Yeah, I did watch it. You have to review it. You have to do a proper review of it. I'm like, God damn it. I fired up all of this bullshit and I recorded it. Thank you. I appreciate if you liked it. Listen, it's available right now. Yes, there are a couple of people who are being extremely weird. There are people who are being very, very weird about it. I don't understand. Like, anyway, I cover it all. And I even I even ended up at the end, sort of pleading with everyone, which is weird that Convoy brings it up, but it's kind of, in that sense, is that hold standards, hold things you like to very high standards. You don't lower your standards to accommodate whatever the fuck's going on. Their job is to make you entertained, and you should have high standards in regards to what you consume. So don't compromise. And with pro wrestling or just about anything else. And it's important, So okay. So all of that to say, the TNA review is available right now for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So you can just hit the join button here if you want to get into that right now. And you could wait also a little bit because I've got I'm doing a live stream here, fella. So you can do that, and then on the podcast later this week, the review will be available for everyone as well. And then Thursday, the Dynamite review, correct? Yes. And then another live stream on Thursday. And then I'm thinking, I've caught up with CMLL. I'm almost done catching up with Collision. I've watched. I started with the trios championship match. I went to that and then I said, "Oh, might as well watch the rest." But I've caught up with CMLL. I'm almost done with AEW, and then there's the Young Lion Cup is back this year over in New Japan. And I'm super excited. And it started today in Korakuen. So that's what I'm probably going to watch once we're done here, because these are things I might end up talking about. Maybe I'll end up doing, a couple of more recordings for members only. So there you go. This is what we got so far. So, and leave a like on this stream if you haven't already. I would appreciate it. It helps get the stream out there and whatnot. It'd be very, very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Let's see here. JD, hello. Welcome to the chat. Checking out Warren live for the first time. Was the first time watching TNA live since before 2010. What a wild ride. First of all, thank you for hanging out for the first time. I hope you like it. Everyone in the chat, you better be nice to him or I'll slug you. You'll all be banned. And second of all, a wild ride is putting it mildly. But nice of you to drop by. Hope you enjoy the stream. DGMC left a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, DGMC. I appreciate it tremendously. Warren driving around his neighborhood late at night contemplating the TNA review like Rocky did before he fought Drago. There was no easy way out. There was no shortcut home because Warren got lost. I mean, I did go for a walk. Grabbed old Juno and I did go for a walk. There's a park. There's like a wooded park not too far from where I live, which is, fairly quiet and whatnot. And that's what I did, walking around. And there's a river that flows through the park, although it's all icy, but there's a river there. And, was it snowing on Sunday? I don't remember. Like, it's fucking snowing all the time here. It probably was. But I remember like listening to the snow crunch beneath my feet, looking up at the trees, the limbs all covered in a just a light layer of snow, just watching it all, taking deep breaths, and, getting clarity on whether or not I should do a TNA on AMC review. And the rest is history. Warren climbing a snow mountain in Manitoba and shouted, Dana Brooke! Contemplating SWAT. Jesus Christ. Okay. Thanks, folks, for being here. I appreciate it tremendously. Yeah. I mean, this is where we're at, right? This is what we're doing now. It's time for JD. You're about to fully enter the Mr. Warren Hayes universe officially right now, because our greatest bit of lore is about to hit us straight across the face. We start every stream heading on over to Mount State Wrestling alumni, Jacques Moliere.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques.
Oh, wait, Jacques, louder,
Let
louder.
me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Hoo-yah! All right, look at all these hoo-yahs in the chat. Fuck yeah. One thing Jacques does is change his smoke alarm batteries immediately on sample. Here's the thing. Hang on a second. Wait a minute. See, you're spoiling the review here. Hang on. Wait a minute here. Meggie O'Kenna, if that is your real name. Here's the thing. I sat down and I'm pulling everything and I start recording and I shit you not. All right. It starts beeping as I'm recording, like the batteries on you, and you'll hear it on the TNA review. And I know it's annoying, but the batteries start bleeping, or the smoke detector starts bleeping. When not as soon as I start recording, but as I'm recording, I'm like, fuck. And then at some point I pause and I think, like, oh, I could change the battery. But I'm like, I don't have it. It's still those 9 volts that go. They're older things, anyway. So it's like, I don't have a 9-volt battery hanging around. I've changed it. You will notice for this live stream, there will be no beep, beep, beeps from the smoke alarm because I changed it. There you go. That's all right. Hey, look at this big ass docket we've got going tonight. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of things. Look, tonight we're still, as you can see, we're talking about a lot of contract situation. But before we get into anything deeper, did you know that Paul Levesque is a moron? He is not a very smart man. I don't know if you knew this. He likes to pretend he's very smart. He likes to... Shit. Thank you for the super chat, DGMC. And your excellent Roadrunner interpretation. That's fantastic. Yes, we got a lot of stuff together, but hang on a second. Here's the thing. This guy likes to pretend he's a smart dude. He really does. He likes to convince people that he's a smart dude. And he tries really hard, but he ends up just being an imbecile. All right? Case in point. We've talked about this multiple times. Case in point here on in this circumstance here. Netflix released a teaser clip, I guess, of the second season of WWE Unreal, aka the Paul Levesque Show. And from that clip we got another clip of Paul Levesque, who is breaking down what happened with the R-Truth contract situation from last year, right? You all remember that. We don't need to walk through it. I'm sure you all recall, right? And I'm listening to this guy, and I listened to the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, this guy just outright completely fudged things that he's been saying about the contract situation, and also ended up just flat out telling us that all of our speculation as to how WWE handles contract negotiations is true. He's basically laid out the entire strategy. We now know how everything works. And he's trying to pass himself off here as some kind of great, brilliant, HR negotiator, contract strategist. And he's just like laying everything out there. He's a dummy. He's a dummy. So, of course, let's listen to this. Now, I know there's a very fair chance that the VOD is going to get copyright claimed. There's a very fair chance of that. And if that's the case, I'll just cut this bit out, and so be it. You had to be here to enjoy the Paul Levesque stuff here. Okay? But look, let's listen to this. We're talking about the Ron Killings, R-Truth stuff. All right.
We got to a point in Truth.
Wait, that's kind of loud, right? That's a little too much. That's a little too much Paul Levesque even for me.
Got to a point in Truth's run.
Yeah, see, he's being serious right now. He's being serious. He's not, he's collecting his thoughts because this is very serious subject matter. You'll notice he doesn't have his typical little smirk to indicate that he's in control of everything. No, like now he's being very serious because contracts are serious business.
Where his contract was coming up.
Big, yeah. He takes a big breath, inhales. Because this is a touchy subject. I can't believe I have to talk about this on my show that I produce. I can't believe I'm being asked the hard questions here.
When you are dealing with contracts and money and you're very far apart in the numbers.
When you are dealing with money and contracts and you're very far apart in the numbers, what do we do, Paul?
And communication breaks down. It's very easy for both sides to read into the communications differently.
So, Chad, I want you to think about this for a second. When you're very far away, what is he trying to say here? When you're very far away on numbers, when there's a long distance between both numbers and communications breaking down, what is this double speak for? What is he trying to say? What is the reality of what he's trying to say? Think about it, chat. What is he trying to say? What he's trying to say here is we were lowballing Ron Killings here. It was an absolute lowball offer. Because Ron wanted this, but we were giving him this. That's what it means. This is what he was saying.
Okay, well, if you're not going to come to us, then, Truth, we're going to let your contract lapse.
Really? Okay. Now, if you're not going to come to us, again, this is doublespeak. Come to us meaning accept our offer. Because there was communication. The wild thing is that there was communication. Where was the communication breakdown? There had to be communication because Paul came and said, we're offering you this. And Ron said, no, I'd like this instead. But Paul said, this lower number, this lower figure is what we're going to give you, Ron. I'm sorry, Truth. That's just how it's going to go. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Your contract is at the end. We're not going to renew. No.
Okay, all right. But it's not because Ron didn't come to him. There was communication. What Paul is saying is Ron Killings declined the offer because he thought the money was too low.
Knowing that hopefully maybe this will force his hand to say, well, hold on a second, can we talk?
You see how much of a dummy this guy is? He's straight up saying, this is how we operate, right? This is everything. Are you going to come to us, like he says, with, are you going to accept our offer? No, well, we're going to decline it. And, maybe it's going to force his hand. And then he'll be like, whoa, wait a second. Let me come take your smaller offer. You see how much of a fucking dummy this guy is? He's just laying it all out there. And he's dumb enough to say, like, this should be put to tape on an official WWE sanctioned program. He's not being blasted by, I don't know, Bob Costas. He's not being dragged through the mud by Bob Costas. He's offering this up like willingly, just freely. It's like, well, there you go. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I understand that this is how negotiating works. Okay. And WWE does have the upper hand here. But the issue is more along the lines of WWE has all the money. They can pay whatever R-Truth was asking. They just don't want to. That's the issue. And here's another big old dummy thing here. Hey, happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone in the United States. WWE decided to drop on MLK Day a clip in which they say we lowballed one of our black athletes.
He immediately went out on social and said he was fired, which he was never fired.
He was never fired. I want to make this clear right now. He was never fired.
Contrary to prior belief, he was never not under contract with us.
I don't think anyone assumed that R-Truth was not under contract with WWE. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know what that part of this dialogue is.
I got the call that my contract wasn't going to be renewed. And
Truth is so chill here. Like, he's just like, this little bit here it shows him off as such an incredible, just like a basic human, as opposed to, double speak, corporate talk, boardroom bore, Paul Levesque, right? Truth just sounds completely natural and chill here.
And I'm like, so am I released? I took it as I was released.
I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Say, okay, they're releasing me. They're not giving me the money I want. And because of that, they're not going to renew my contract. Okay, well, I'm going to social media. I'm fired.
I was hurt.
Why wouldn't he be hurt? Why wouldn't he be hurt? This is a guy who's worked for this company and has done everything that was asked of him, making people laugh, being entertaining, being a part of the whole sports entertainment shtick, and one of the only guys who actually does comedy well in all of pro wrestling, because he actually has real comedy timing. He actually understands how things are funny, developing this character and the John Cena tie-in and all of that. As far as comedy wrestlers go, Ron Killings is going to be an all-timer. He was legitimately great at it. And they're like, no, we're just. Super chat from DGMC. Again, another very generous one. Thank you very much. And in classic Vince fashion, he went one way and then the other when it didn't work, while pretending they valued truth all along. Evil Jedi mind tricks run in the family and the company's existence. This is all incredibly true. Now, when I watched this the first time, I got a fucking jump scare when Road Dogg, the roadie, showed up on my screen here. This is complete jump scare.
It broke my heart. It made perfect business sense to not renew his contract.
While it broke my heart. listen to this fucking guy. Listen to this guy. Listen to this fucking guy, the road dog, talking to you about business sense.
At his age, you might not get that reward back.
What he means by reward is return on investment. That's what he was trying to say. Road dog, Jesse James. This guy here, who's lucky to still have any kind of job in pro wrestling. This guy who spent his career hanging out with people who had influence, drinking, going to strip clubs, making the boys laugh, and making enough friends so that when the people in power that he used to, party with got into power, they were like, we're going to take care of you. As I cannot imagine, when you think about this, when you think about, how people are flabbergasted sometimes when they think about Tommy Dreamer being a booker, being a creative guy in charge of a promotion in 2026. I feel the exact same way for road dog Jesse James, the least talented of the Armstrong brothers, a guy who got along, a guy who got over saying the same promo week after week for what, 2-3 years at least, 2 years easily, saying the same thing over and over again. Insane stuff. And now he's sitting there going, yeah, it broke my heart. This guy, who again surrounded himself with a much more talented individual in Ron Killings, K-Quick, remember? It used to be a thing, a tag team. He's got nothing to say other than, it's a good business decision. Nothing about, it broke my heart, my old tag team partner, my friend. But he's so convinced, like no remorse. No remorse, no emotion, nothing human coming out of this guy or his boss. Cut from the same cloth, both from the Vince cloth. Nothing empathetic, no remorse, nothing that could make you connect with these people. You're just sitting there and going, you guys are you guys are evil individuals, both of you. I don't know. Again, proof that Triple H is a dummy. I don't know how he approved to let these segments be in here. Triple H, a guy who is desperate to be liked, a guy who just constantly is looking for people to pat him on the back and say nice things. I can't believe that he let these segments in that make him come across as a complete, as an evil guy, because everyone loves R-Truth, and he's there trying to rationalize it, saying, well, Truth brought this on himself, when the basic logic would be, Truth, you have been a valued talent in this company for years and years. We are so glad to be able to renew you at your price point or closer to. And let's not forget, Triple H made such a fucking mess out of this that Nick Khan had to swoop in to save the day, because Nick Khan did not want the audience turning on him, was sick of probably hearing from the locker room that people were upset, and he didn't want R-Truth to suddenly end up in AEW. That was probably the biggest reason. And Nick Khan had to come in, because you can absolutely see R-Truth sitting there with his phone and, sitting there and seeing Triple H trying to call him, going Paul Levesque, and just like doing boop, I'm unavailable, straight to voicemail. But then he sees Nick Khan on his phone. So, oh shit. Hello, Mr. Khan. Let's talk. It made good business sense to the point that the president of the company had to come in to sweep up the fucking mess. Road Dogg. Jesus Christ. I am completely floored that they addressed this. I am floored. And especially in this way, where they both come off as goons and incompetent goons on top of that. Because they're both sitting here going, well, Truth didn't want to meet us halfway. This fucking moron here saying it made good business sense. And yet our Truth got picked right back up on the roster because the real man in charge came in to settle the situation. And now our Truth is completely forgotten in doing jack shit and collecting a fat paycheck, and good for him. These imbeciles. Yes, it is an early contender for biggest self-own of the year. I would not be bragging about this. Now, granted, maybe in the rest of the show, they start talking about how Nick came in to save the situation. What could be, I don't know. I'm never going to watch it. But even if they do bring it full circle and admit that they were wrong and whatever, don't talk about it. Don't bring this up and make yourselves look like imbeciles. If Road Dogg was sitting there, instead of nodding his head as if to try and convince me of something, as if he's trying to say, this makes a lot of sense what I'm taking right now. Aren't I right? Like a fucking Tim Robinson character, right? And if he had said, well, we thought at the time it was a good business decision, then you're like, oh, a little self-reflection, a little humility. And that can go a long fucking way. But these bozos, these fucking bozos, corporate bozos, can't do self-reflection. Anyway, as it is tradition, we will always take the time to dress down Paul Levesque whenever we get an opportunity, because that's what we do. I have such contempt for these people, such utter contempt. Kristen Ashley, hello, darling. Welcome to the chat. Has it been 20 minutes since I've been on my rant? Nice to see you, darling. Welcome to the chat. Also, member of the channel. He's telling talent everywhere that WWE will lowball you. Exactly. I mean, we know it. That's the thing. And their talent knows it as well. Because they're serving up a dream. That's how they got Will Hobbs. Serving up a dream. The idea of being in the biggest company in the world. Hitting the pillow at night thinking, one day I'm going to be in the WrestleMania moment. Or even better, one day I'm going to main event WrestleMania. A couple of years ago when Cody won the title, when he finally won the title at WrestleMania after beating Roman, there is not a single solitary wrestler there in that locker room that night, man, woman, who left and to go to sleep that didn't dream of that being them next year or in 2 years or in 5 years. Yeah, damn Gotcha's journalism right on the show that I produce. It's crazy. He thinks he's doing real good. He's so fucking smooth. That's what he's thinking right now. At the same token, I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H and Dog are playing this up as some kind of, see, this is the new kayfabe. We're being the evil authority heels thing. I don't disagree. You know, like, there could still be a part of Triple H who said, you know, oh, he was never fired. It was all part of the show. You're enjoying the show? It was all part of the show, right? Because just on that level, he self-owns himself. Because all part of the show, it was not part of the show. And it's been disproved. And now he just confirms it himself. You know, he just comes out and he lies. But we know he does that. He just confirms. He confirms that he lies. Of course, he could turn around and say, well, yeah, it was work all along because he was still under contract. It's always the dumbest guys saying it makes business sense. Exactly. It's always the dumbest guys who have entrepreneur in their bio on Twitter, right? It's always the worst people that you would never do business with. Love that they picked this clip to put out from all the footage they have. Yes. Somehow they thought it's fascinating that they thought this was a good idea. Miss Convoy, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I was just going to come in and say he's the least talented Armstrong, but you beat me to it. Fucking Road Dog. Insane, right? The least successful of all the Armstrongs, but the most successful. Remember when Road Dogg told Tony and Shad Khan they were looking smooth as fuck? Yep. Humblehurst Helmsley strikes again. Road Dogg is indeed a soulless ghoul. I agree. That makes it 3 times Warren has either agreed with me or told me that I'm right during one show. Pop the champagne. Calm down here, Buster. Wonder whose bright idea was to tell this story in Unreal. Could have been swept under the rug. Yeah, they just could have not addressed it. But you see, like, this is the thing. Triple H thinks he's so clever. He's like, oh, I'm just going to explain it and everyone's going to understand. But you're just like completely opening you're confirming things that people have speculated on for years that you could continue to say after. No, we don't do that. But you absolutely did do it. Just a dummy. A dummy. So we're going to follow up to some stuff we didn't get to on the Thursday stream, because I wanted to talk on the Thursday stream about all of the contract situations. It's contract season in pro wrestling, and that's always exciting. And I wanted to talk about it a little more on Thursday, but the main attraction was the fact that we were doing a watch party for TNA on AMC. God rest my weary soul. We did it, but we didn't go through all of the news. We talked about Willie Hobbs. We talked about the Rascals as well. And we're going to circle back to all of this. And we're going to talk about the contract stuff. And we're going to start by talking about the Rascals again, because it's kind of like the biggest news to have popped out over the past 24 hours. We're recording this on Monday, the 19th. So it's kind of like the freshest, biggest news around the entire contract situation. I believe it all started yesterday when rumors started circulating that Trey Miguel was no longer going to be. Well, first of all, it started on Saturday when the Rascals did their Collision debut, and they did a little bit, right, where they smoke weed, and there were only 3 of the 4 Rascals who were there. And that people thought it was a little strange. Wait, where's Trey Miguel? Trey Miguel was working. Zachary Wentz was there. Desmond Xavier was there. Myron Reed was there. But we were like, well, where's the other guy? Where's Trey Miguel? So then you start hearing rumors and things start going around, and suddenly, all of a sudden, you have Trey Miguel, who posts on his Instagram stories on Sunday, saying he's taking a break from wrestling. And this is the exact quote that he used. Taking a break from wrestling, please respect my space and don't tag me in any posts or comments. Go support the Rascals still. Fightful Select has since reported that Miguel, this was all on Sunday, that Miguel had been released from the AEW contract he recently signed. The report noted that he is on amicable terms with the company. Now, this is a flashbang. Everyone was sort of stunned at this, rubbing their eyes like he literally just got signed. What the hell happened? It just came out of left field. Didn't even have the chance to appear on TV, and it's like, no, hit the bricks. We got some extra context here. According to Fightful Select, Miguel was released from his contract sometime in the last few days, just a week or so after originally signing. They were not given a reason for the sudden departure, but it was said that Miguel and AEW remained under amicable terms. On Saturday's Collision, the Rascals made their on-screen debut during a backstage interview. Miguel, however, was nowhere to be found. The following day, Trey Miguel released a statement saying he was taking a break from pro wrestling. Now, there's a little bit of, I don't think I may have not gotten the exact news item I wanted, because there's a little more. This is the one I wanted. This was the bit that I wanted here, because after following news of the release, there's something. Dave Meltzer reported that something happened from higher than Tony Khan as a reason for him to be released from the company. So this is from Josh Nason on the Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer website. It's still unclear on the full story behind Trey Miguel's AEW release, but our Brian Alvarez had some updates on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, available for free on YouTube, etc. Alvarez and Dave Meltzer discussed the news around Miguel, who said on Sunday he is taking some time away from wrestling, with a report coming out that he had been released from his AEW contract days after signing it. This is a quote from Brian Alvarez. No one's really saying much. Well, people are saying certain things, but my understanding is, whatever it is, it came from up above. I don't know. I know there's a lot of rumors, but it had nothing to do with anybody in AEW talent, anything like that, or Tony Khan. Something happened from way up and he was released. So that perked up a lot of ears, and people were like, oh, okay, so he got fired from his contract after someone higher up in Warner Bros. Discovery sort of nixed the idea, right? I saw a lot of, and we started speculating quite a bit. There was a lot of stuff going on, and look, in some of my group chats and whatnot, and there was a lot of talk about this on the internet too. There's a lot of things that Trey Miguel has said in the past, tweeted, I should say, put out there, that comes across rather poorly. Some things that were a little homophobic, some things that were anti-Semitic. There's all sorts of things. He has an All Lives Matter post. There's a lot of things that Trey Miguel posted on the internet a few years ago that may have contributed to this. Like we're assuming this is what it is. And it's sort of compounded with the fact that Miguel earlier today also posted about that. Let me pull it up. I thought I had it at the ready too. I swear I'm prepared tonight. Promise. Extra promise. He posted this on Twitter today, late afternoon. It said, quote, "I've made a lot of mistakes in my time. I've always apologized and did my best to put a better foot forward after. I don't preach hate and I don't take any pride in being hateful. I'm a man of faith. I believe in forgiveness and only ever preach that. I'm a different man today." So, I think the most reasonable way of approaching this, of thinking about what exactly happened here is, I think someone from higher up in Warner Bros. Discovery, maybe even just the legal department, did a little due diligence, did a little background check, checked out a few things, right? And they ended up going back down to Tony and say, "Hey, this guy, we scoured the stuff and he's got some hate messaging that occurred, on social media at these instances, and this is possibly a liability for us, so we don't want him around." And I think that's the most logical explanation. That's what some of us were theorizing. I saw so many things, he's having a very serious family issue and whatnot, which could be, don't get me wrong, right? But why would anyone swoop in to fire him, to remove him from his contract because he has a serious family situation? It's the kind of thing that, it doesn't compute. But the legal department of Warner Bros. Discovery doing a little due diligence, making sure this guy's not going to cause any issues for them moving forward, and then telling Tony Khan, or whoever, right? We can't hire this dude because yeah, and they're like, okay. Then we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this then, right? And look, it sucks. It sucks, but you know what this is? This is a Jay Briscoe situation all over again. It's a Jay Briscoe situation all over again, where Jay unfortunately said the things he said, and it followed him no matter how much he tried to make amends, and had support from professional wrestlers all over the place saying, no, he's not like this, and so on and so forth. That's ultimately what kept him off of AEW television and TV proper, right? It's the same type of situation here, and it sucks. It sucks, but it's like, man, whatever you post on the internet stays, and even though you delete it, especially if you're a public figure, someone somewhere has a copy of it. Somewhere it's been cached, archived somewhere. It exists. It's out there, and it sucks. Something that he wrote like what was it, like 6-7 years ago at this point? Maybe not that much. Hang on, 5-6 years ago, and it's no, that's right, 6-7 years ago. I am right. That'd be around that time period. It sucks. Because at the same time, there was a time, before everything got very, very straight and narrow on the internet, and we really started holding people accountable for stuff, it was the Wild West out there. There's a lot of shit that existed out there. And a lot of people were posting a lot of really wild stuff that you could never get away with now. Times have changed. Is he, as he says, a different man than he was back then, and so on and so forth? I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know the guy. You don't know the guy either. Is he just saying that because he wants to garner sympathy? He could. He said, "I'm taking a break from wrestling. Please respect my privacy" on Sunday. Then on Monday, he's posting something else. I'm like, all right. I mean, if he wants to clear the air as much as possible, good for him. And, what he posted today was it's as clear as we're going to get in this situation to try and understand what the hell happened, why he was fired, essentially, without someone outright saying these are the specific reasons why, which we'll probably never know. I mean, it sucks. It legitimately sucks, because this was a huge opportunity for him. It was the biggest opportunity he had. It's the second time someone brings in the Rascals to their company and he gets left behind. You know, it happened in WWE years ago when Wentz and Desmond Xavier, I got around to it. Thank you. When they joined NXT, he was supposed to be he was part of the package deal, and he wasn't. Now, probably was hoping for the best here, and it didn't turn out that way. And it's got to suck too, because the announcement is made, your name is in the press, and you're excited. You get the contract. You have signed it at this point. So you're excited for everything that's about to happen, and it is an ultimate rug pull. So I don't blame him right now if he's feeling down in the dumps. And I see Chad bringing up the Zachary Wentz situation, but here's the thing. The Zachary Wentz situation requires a whole lot of context. And not even all that much context, but it's out there and it exists. Zachary Wentz didn't didn't start posting pictures of himself dressed up as Hitler. This was a guy who was tricked by his trainer when he was young. He was like 19, 20 years old, right? And his trainer, David Christ, I think it was David, who was later proven to be like an abusive, manipulative son of a bitch, right? This is a guy who was called out and speaking out and was blacklisted from the industry. He was with Zach Wentz, and he told him, it's like, yeah, hey, he was shaving. He said, shave your mustache off. Shave everything off except the little Hitler mustache. And then, we'll take pictures, do the salute and everything, and we'll take pictures and it'll be a gas. But it ended up, what it was is Chris held on to the picture so that he could blackmail him. And he used it to blackmail him on one occasion. And then after, sent it to Wentz's ex, who then plastered that all over the internet because she was completely unhinged. And that's what got him fired from WWE, when it was just something that he did as a stupid kid, and not because he's a raging Nazi, because tons of people have come out since to stick up for him, MJF notwithstanding. MJF came out to stick up for him and make sure that people understood that whatever happened here is all nonsense. So that's an entirely different situation, where it's just like, lighthearted, maybe distasteful, sure, but lighthearted, goofing off against people that you think are your friends, but are just out to get you. So if anything, I'm glad for Zachary Wentz that he's getting another lease. At this. Look, it's a sucky situation. I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to say. Other than I think like it's another situation. It's another, what's the word I'm looking for? It's another, cautionary tale. There you go. That's what I was looking for. It's another cautionary tale it's another cautionary tale in regards to posting things on the internet. It's there forever now, folks. And here's another bit of advice. You don't have to tweet everything that goes on in your mind. You really fucking don't. Some thoughts are meant to be private, and you don't need to tweet everything that's on your mind. You can keep some stuff to yourself. Some thoughts just should stay between you and yourself. You don't have to tweet everything that goes through your mind. Hey, Dan Reed, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. And it's very nice to see you corroborating what I'm putting forth here. It just sucked. He was young. He was super young. He was super young. He was, like you said, peer pressure. He just wants to, he wants to fit in. Who hasn't done stupid shit because your friend group or the friend group you want to get into, has you do something really fucking dumb. It's all happened. I think everyone goes through something to varying degrees, but I think we all do like stupid shit, or at the very least things that don't resemble what we would normally do in this type of situation. We've all done it, I think. It's happened to everyone. But because it's public, because he's a public figure, he gets raked through the coals. All right, more contract news. Let's start with things happening in All Elite Wrestling. Dual contracts have been announced for multiple CMLL performers. That's right. Tony Khan has revealed that Hechicero, Persephone, and Mascara Dorada are under deals with both promotions. Hechicero has been a mainstay in AEW and Ring of Honor over the past year as a member of the Don Callis family, while remaining a regular in CMLL. Hechicero was among the 6 men featured in the Survival of the Fittest elimination match for the Ring of Honor title at Final Battle last month, and will face Roderick Strong in a number 1 contenders match for the CMLL heavyweight title this Friday in Arena, Mexico. That has already happened by the time we're at the moment I'm recording this, and Hechicero lost. Persephone, 24, began wrestling in 2020 and started in CMLL 3 years later. She wrestled Mercedes Moné, Alex Windsor, and Bozilla last August at Forbidden Door for the TBS Championship and headlined Ring of Honor Final Battle against Athena for the Women's World Championship in December. Dorada, 24, has only been wrestling for 3 years. It's still wild to me that I still forget that. But this is, yes, he is still, technically speaking, in wrestling terms, a baby. He's only been wrestling for 3 years, but has become a breakout star. He transitioned from Panterita del Ring Jr. to the current moniker and gained popularity as a member of El Sky team with Mystico and Neon. The 3 are the current CMLL World Trios champions, which they won last May. Dorada has held the welterweight championship since December 2023. Last September, he had one of the best matches of the year with Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita at All Out in Toronto. This news comes before CMLL's International Weekend with Ricochet, GOA, Roderick Strong, and Lee Moriarty participating, I should say. I'm not slurring, on the show. So, okay, first and foremost, Hechicero, I feel like we all knew. He got the graphic and everything, and Tony announced it, and I was like, wait a minute. Didn't we know this already? Didn't we know? I feel like we knew. We already knew that Hechicero had the dual contract stuff. And I was like, this is not news. This can't be news. But I mean, we can still celebrate. We can still applaud that. I think Hechicero is terrific, and that's really great news. Mascara Dorada, I think everyone sort of saw that coming. I think he's been in a dual contract situation for a while. I don't think the ink was still dry when Tony Khan put out the graphics to announce that all these people were signed. I think Dorada has been in the dual contract camp for a little while, for a few months. I don't think Tony would have featured him in the C2 if he wasn't an AEW aligned wrestler, dual contract signed. And everything that is said about Mascara Dorada is true. He is excellent. He has 3 years in the business, which I still always forget. And he's really being prepped by CMLL to likely be Mystico's successor. I think they want this guy to be the next Arena Mexico draw, the next big Technico. There's no mistake that he's in a team with Mystico right now. I think these are all very clear and planned out moves, and it's crazy that he still has tons to learn. He's fantastic. I think Mascara Dorada is great and is going to continue to be great. And Persephone is a very good choice. She's also very young. I don't think she's as advanced as Mascara Dorada is. I think she still shows her inexperience in multiple situations, but she will grow as well. And I think it's a solid pickup as well for AEW to add a little diversity, whether it's on the Ring of Honor circuit or in AEW itself. It's it'll be a little extra something a little more fun. Now, you can ask yourselves, why did Tony Khan announce all of this, right? Why did he announce all of this, all of these people all at once? Sure, on setting up the on the heels of the big international weekend over in CMLL. Sure, okay, as a little something on that end. I can believe that. Is it because maybe he also wanted to steal some thunder away from TNA and make sure that they get overshadowed in this type of news that will captivate the conversation and maybe drive some talk away? Look, I talked about it last Thursday, and I still believe that was probably a little part of his strategy. I'm not saying that's exactly why he did it, but I think Tony is Tony Khan in 2019, 2020 would probably not do this. But years later, with WWE absolutely being an asshole to him and setting everything up to try and put him out of business as hard as they could, and doing all those counter programming moves last year and so on and so forth. I think he's like, okay, I can play dirty too. I can absolutely make life a little harder for these other people, these TNA people who are showing up on the on cable, like on real cable this time, not on fucking Access TV, showing up on real cable, trying to get a sliver of the pie, right? Trying to get their own little parcel of the pro wrestling market. It's like, you know what? Fuck these people. Fuck them all. They want to come in and try to grab some attention away, and I said, no, I'm not giving these bitches an inch to breathe. And picking up the Rascals, picking up Jake something in the meantime. I'm like, all right. He's sending out some kind of message, that's for sure. I think it was just convenient. This is why, look, I've told you guys this before, and I think a lot of you have figured this out. Tony Khan signs people and then will sit on the graphic for as long as he needs until he sees a convenient moment to announce it. Until he's like, all right, I'm going to announce it here. And sometimes it's really, really fast, right? Like Andrade El Idolo when he showed up the first time and the second time, to be fair. He was like, he got the graphic immediately because of course. But there's others that he'll just stretch it out a little bit and he won't announce it immediately. You know, like Hyan and Maya World. You know, they were signed a few weeks prior to the graphic announcement, which was at World's End, right? Did they get it at World's End? I think they got it at World's End, right? But they had been signed like since November or something. Shortly after the incident. And so, you know, it's like he's been hanging on to these, and why drop them all at once? Why all three? Brum, 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 brum. Why all? Look, if he's starting to play the game like this, I'm completely okay with it. I'm fine with this kind of stuff. It's the chaos, man. I love the chaos. I'm here for the chaos. This is all above board. It's good stuff. Ring of Honor deal confirmed. See here, this is something that has all of these people, you know, picking up all these people has led to speculation. Even myself on Blue Sky was like, look, something's got to be up. He's got to have. He's got to be preparing something. There has to be something here where he's getting everything. He's getting a bunch of ducks in a row and just ready to do something with all of this talent. But from what I understand, we're not even close to a Ring of Honor deal yet. Here's one thing, right? Tony may sometimes talk in obtuse ways, right? But as far as we can tell, he doesn't lie. Like, he's not going to say, oh yeah, we're working on a Ring of Honor TV deal, right? There was a time he was doing that. You remember? And he'd say, oh, no, let me say that again. You remember when we were talking about the AEW media deal? This is the perfect example. When he was talking about the AEW media deal, he'd always talk about, you know, he'd be comparing to football yardage, right? He's like, oh, we're not in the end zone yet, but you know, we're on the 40, we're getting there. And then the more he'd talk about it, it's like, oh, we're on the 30, you know, and we're close to scoring or whatever. I can't remember what he was saying, but every time he'd talk to people about it, he'd say how closer they were to the end zone. But, you know, he wouldn't outright say, oh, we're really fucking close. But, you know, he'd talk about it like that. And then people would ask about the Ring of Honor stuff. And he's like, oh, well, we're looking for the best possible opportunity. And then someone asked him at some point, well, where do you know, on which yard line, you know, calling back to his old analogy, on which yard line are you right now in regards to the Ring of Honor deal? And he flat out said, oh, we're not even on the field. You know, it's like, okay, so that's all we needed to know. We're not like, there are no real negotiations happening with anyone. And Tony will flat out say, if he is in negotiations, if something is going to happen, but the last time they asked him about the Ring of Honor TV, which was for the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I never remember the names. Was it Final Battle? It wasn't Final Battle. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He flat out said, yeah, it was Final Battle. He said, no, well, I'm looking for the option that works the best for us, right? See, he still hasn't found a media partner. And he's not going to move until he finds a media partner. But let me tell you, the day that he does find one and that he starts negotiating, we're going to know. We're going to know. But he wants a good deal. He wants a proper deal for Ring of Honor. You could argue that in the meantime, Ring of Honor is suffering, and I agree. It's not necessarily the best foot forward right now. But very convoluted way to say, I don't think that suddenly we've got a Ring of Honor show that has suddenly appeared out of nowhere and that we're serious enough to start bringing in all this new talent. Not if, a month ago, Tony Khan was still saying, no, we're still searching. We're still looking. Until he says something like, we're in deep negotiations with a very serious partner. because it's not going to come out of the blue. It's not going to be something that's going to be negotiated overnight and settled over a week. These things take time. Look how fucking long it took Carlos Silva to lock down whatever he locked down with AMC. It took him a while. And he had been saying for a while, oh no, we got something, it's coming. We're going to announce it by September or whatever, right? And it didn't land on September, but he eventually did. So no, I don't think there's a Ring of Honor deal in the works because of all of this. I do not think so. But one thing I do think is that if the patterns that we've been seeing with Dynamite recently, where you're seeing more and more wrestling matches, I don't know if you've noticed for the past 3 weeks, and then again this week, you've got like 5-6 matches on the card, and this has been going on every week now. They're doing minimal nonsense, and they're doing more wrestling. They're putting their best foot forward. The thing that makes them different from WWE, they're leaning into it. Dynamite feeling more like a Collision, where Collision has always been the wrestling show, like just top to bottom, just like match. It's feeling more and more like Collision. So it's like Collision, but with the, truly the big stars every week, right? If they do that and they focus more and more on pro wrestling, then you can get more people on. You can get more people on the show then, right? You have more people on your weekly shows. I mean, they'll hopefully never fall. They'll never fall as far as a 2-hour show with 3 wrestling matches on it. But hey, you never know. Anyway, so there's another reason why I think these dual contract deals went through. I think there's a lot of this a lot of this is to prevent WWE sweeping in and picking up these 3 people, right? That I'm pretty sure that's also part of it. Hey, D. Owens, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. Also, you are a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. It does feel like there should be a good market for authentic U.S. lucha promotion with English-Spanish commentary. Ring of Honor CMLL would be a really interesting show to try that with. Yeah, well, to a degree. I mean, it works really well in certain markets. Like there's certain markets that are absolutely gung-ho on that level. You've got, of course, Texas. You've got Southern California, Chicago. Those are all like big U.S. based, big U.S. lucha bases that will attract Lucha Libre fans. Look at how good CMLL does when they do their Lucha Apocalypto stuff or whatever it is they call it, right? Whenever they have their own CMLL, whenever they have the CMLL guys on their own shows, you've got tons of Lucha fans who show up for that and then hit the bricks when actual MLW starts because they don't know and they don't care moving forward. So yes, I think there are markets for that. Is it a big national thing? Is there that much of an appetite for Lucha Libre? I don't know. Because I feel like that itch would have been scratched by, at the very least, AAA a long time ago, because AAA has been trying to get into the United States for years and hasn't been able to get a proper foothold. So I don't know. What exactly did Carlos Silva lock down with AMC? We would all like to know, brother. We would love that. There have been offers, but he really wants Ring of Honor to have a deal with Warner Bros. Yeah, no, undoubtedly. I agree. something that's good for everyone is what he says, right? Something of note I said last night in another stream. Another stream! The majority of the signees are under 30. Yes, this is also true. This is also true. And you know, WWE have been doing the same thing. We're gonna talk about their own little sign. Well, no, we talked about the WWE signees on the stream on Thursday. But they're also giving tryouts to like Starboy Charlie and stuff, right? And AEW is doing this and signing a bunch of young guys as well. We're going to talk about those. And then in TNA, what do they offer? They offer, Santino Marella. Because everyone wants more Santino Marella, who is such a confusing wrestling personality. Because I never know, because he's in serious situations, and I can never take those situations seriously because I always think he's being a goof. He just doesn't work. He's very, very off-putting to me. The poison pill theory is why I would be shocked if Mystico and a handful of other talent aren't already under a dual contract or at least an option contract. Yeah. It also boils down to a bunch of things too, right? It also boils down to things like, not necessarily everyone wants to work in the United States either. There's also that, there's these situations where you don't, where everyone's like, oh, they should come to the US or whatever. Yeah. And it's just, some people are just, they want to work in their home country and do whatever they do best there. Don't forget that Mystico works every week, like every Friday, works in front of 16,000 people every Friday night. Does he want to start touring across and it's always in the one same spot. Does he want to start touring across the United States, working in in front of 2,000 to 3,000 people, every 2 days or so, or every 4 days, whatever, or every week? And he has to travel and all that? Maybe not. And then has to win the crowd over because a lot of people don't know who Mystico is. Excuse me. It's when you start thinking about it that way, it's like, well, yeah, I can understand that maybe he's not too excited. And plus, don't forget, his last experience working for an American wrestling company didn't quite work out. Now that, to be fair, there's a little bit of Mystico and there's a little bit of WWE. You can't blame entirely one, and absolve the other. It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Seventh sold out nights in a row. There you go. I just know TK has talked about having a brotherly relationship with Lutheroth, and the way he said it makes me think that they have worked to protect CMLL from getting poached. Excuse me. I think they have a very, very, very strong relationship. I really do. I can dream Mystico versus Ospreay. I'm pretty sure Will wants that too. I'm pretty sure Will has that dream as well. All right, moving on. Still talking about AEW contracts. Queen Aminata, she's sticking around AEW for a bit still, and that's good. Queen Aminata shared a positive contract update. While currently out of the ring due to a neck injury, Aminata announced in a recent vlog that her AEW contract has been extended until February 2027. Quote, on top of all the great news and great feelings, AEW also extended my beautiful, juicy contract until February 2027. Bro, what can I say at this point? I'm happy. Even though my neck is messed up right now, I can't wrestle. I am very happy and very, very motivated. I can't wait to go back. Good for her. Good for her. And good for AEW. She is tremendous. She is such a good wrestler to have around. And I hope she sticks around for a while. Again, like, and look, I've said this multiple times. If you have never seen Queen Aminata in DPW, you are not getting the full Queen Aminata experience. She is, well, I mean, you're not going to see her in DPW anymore. But if you did see her there, holy smokes, she's not quite the same presentation than in AEW. She's fantastic, and that's a lockdown for the future, if you ask me. And then a former WWE ID wrestler has been announced as AEW's latest signing. Tony Khan has announced Zeta Steel as a brand new addition to the company. During Saturday's AEW Collision Maximum Carnage, Steel made her AEW in-ring debut and went against Marina Shafir in a losing cause. She had previously appeared on Ring of Honor TV in December 2025 and wrestled at Final Battle, losing to Layla Gray. Last week on Collision, Steel joined the Skyflight faction alongside Scorpio Sky, Christopher Daniels, Dante Martin, and Darius Martin, replacing Gray for the time being. And before her time in AEW Ring of Honor, Steel was in the WWE ID program starting in November 2024, but decided not to renew her ID deal in October 2025. She made her WWE debut on the April 2nd, 2025 edition of Evolve, losing to Bryn Lee Reese, someone else who's gone from the company. After spending a few months at WWE Evolve, she wrestled her last televised WWE match on the October 22nd episode of Evolve against Thea Hale. And look, the last time I saw Zeta Steel, I believe, was 2 years ago, around when Marigold was starting up. In the first few shows, she was there. She was in multi-person matches, and boy, oh boy, did she stink. She was one of my go-tos for a while. Whereas, like, you know, when I'm thinking about wrestlers who are not good, like Zeta Steel, brother. And then I'd see her on a card and I'd groan audibly. I'm like, oh, not her again. And then she disappears. Then she starts working the indies. And I thought this was someone who was just going to do this for a while and then drop off. But she's committed. She's doing it. She's working. And what I haven't watched her match on Collision yet because I'm still working my way through Collision. I haven't finished it yet. But from what I saw against Layla Gray, I thought she looked better. Like trust me, she was bad in Marigold. She was really, really bad. And I mean, look, she's up against Layla Gray. This isn't Mercedes Moné, right? That you're wrestling against. This isn't someone that, it's not Willow Nightingale. It's not Toni Storm. It's not someone who can, carry you through the worst storms and into a good match. It's Layla Gray. Let's pump the brakes here. And I'm not saying like suddenly she's this revelation, but I saw more technique. I saw her more as a pro wrestler in that match than I had seen her previously. So I'm like, okay, well, at the very fucking least, she's improving. She's getting better. And clearly she wants to give it her all. She wants to really maximize. She really wants to be a pro wrestler, which I kind of doubted for a while. She's got a great look. She comes across really well on television. It's an interesting signing. We'll see if Tony can do anything. Can do anything with her. If AEW is a good spot for her. We'll see how it goes. I mean, she'll have room to grow. maybe she'll get a spot opened up soon. Like, Anna Jay's contract is coming up sooner than later too. We'll see what happens there. I don't know anything. I'm not insinuating anything. I honestly don't know. It's just like pure speculation. She said this was her first televised match ever. Now that makes sense, right? First like actual TV match. Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, look, I'm looking forward to seeing how good she was with Marina. And look, I don't think Marina, you guys know this by now. I don't think Marina is all that I don't think she's all that great as far as a pro wrestler goes. I think she's fantastic in the role that they've given her in the Death Riders. I think she's spot on perfect, actually. But the rest, I think her wrestling is average at best. Average at best. I don't think Marina is all a lot of smoke and mirrors. A lot of smoke and mirrors in a Marina Shafir match now. I'm like, Zeta Steele isn't exactly in the ring with the ring general either. All right. So that, wait. To close up the AEW sequence here, we got a couple of surprise signings that happened at Limitless Wrestling last Friday. After MJF defended the AEW World Championship at the indie event in Lewiston, Maine, he revealed AEW was offering contracts to his opponent, Alec Price, and Price's tag team partner, Jordan Oliver. After defeating Price at Limitless Wrestling's Limitless Rumble show, MJF cut a promo asking the fans if they wanted Price and Oliver to be pro wrestlers or sports entertainers. He then declared that as world champion, he had a lot of say in AEW. And then he cuts the promo and so on and so forth. In an uncharacteristic move, Friedman approached the two and shook their hands and embraced them, and then immediately reminded viewers that he is still MJF. Price is an 8-year-old pro from Boston, Massachusetts. Oliver, 26, is from Newburgh, New York, and has been wrestling for 9 years. Most of their matches have been with GCW, but they have wrestled as a team 3 times in Ring of Honor in recent months, losing to The Swirl, The Death Riders, and Crew. This is tremendous news. I am very, very happy for both Alec Price and Jordan Oliver. Alex Price is a guy that I've enjoyed his work for a long time. It's about time he gets. He was always one of these guys where I'm like, how come no one is picking this kid up? He's very good. I don't know why people are constantly sleeping on Alec Price. I don't know. Like, there could be a lot of reasons, right? But yeah, he even had a WWE tryout. It's odd to me. So I'm glad he's being picked up, and I am with Jordan Oliver as well. And Jordan Oliver, when I was listening a little more, when I was listening to GCW more and, the indies overall, I was, watching Jordan Oliver, and I was like, look, let me put it to you this way. Very frankly, I was not a fan. I didn't enjoy his work. I thought he was a long, gangly goofball, weekend warrior type of thing, where it's like, man, this guy he's not taking anything seriously here. I don't see what he has. And everyone around me is like freaking out over Jordan Oliver and how great he is. And he's like, yeah, he does some high fly spots. He's a spectacular, he does spectacular spots, but he's not a good wrestler. I never thought he was any good. I thought his look was terrible. I didn't think he exuded anything that made me believe that he was going to be a pro wrestler. And he was one of my go-tos. Where I'd just like constantly make fun of him. And he'd be one of my references of a pro wrestler that I don't like and that I think is not very good and is overrated. And good for him. This is what this guy did. He set out to prove people like me wrong, that he had the passion, that he had the stuff, and And suddenly, like, what was it, like 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? Was it? No, I think it was 2 years ago. I see him on a New Japan show. The one that they had the sponge sponsorship. It was a Hiromu thing. It was Hiromu's produce show in the United States, and he was booked on the show. And I hear some things. I hear people telling me, hey, Jordan Oliver's here, and I'm like, ugh. No. Like, he's here in a suit and tie. He's there with a suit and tie. Yeah, he's all dressed up. He's he's taking this seriously. He's taking this shit seriously. He's coming in. He's shaking hands. He's putting his best foot forward. And he coming to the ring, and he had a good little match. I was like, oh, all right. And he had filled out. He had put on some weight. I was like, oh, now okay. I still wasn't like 100% convinced, but I was like, okay, there is a noticeable improvement here. And that's all I ever heard. Like, everything I've always heard about Jordan Oliver is that he loves pro wrestling. And, he's a guy that always wants to help out, and he'd be on the ring crews for GCW. That's fine. Now you sort of hear him like, okay, it's time. When you hear stuff like, oh, well, he's coming, he's dressed in his suit and whatnot. I'm like, okay, he's taking his career to a next level. People are saying good things about him, and it's like, all right, well, you know what? Good for him. Really, honestly, good for fucking him. Because he really set out to prove people like me wrong. And now he's got a shot at the big time. And the last couple of matches that I've seen him in, I didn't think he was egregious in any way, shape, or form. I was like, he was on the Ring of Honor show, right? On the last fall, right? Or something like that. Again, not the final battle, the one before that. And I was like, all right, looks pretty good. I can't complain. So good for him. Look, like, this is the kind of stuff that actually makes me happy. That I'm not going to sit here and try to mumble into, oh, well, and try to retcon. That's the worst thing. We're like, oh, no, I always said that Jordan Oliver had. No, I can't sit here and say that. Jordan Oliver was was a guy I would enjoy picking on, right? So this actually brings me a lot more joy than continuing a bit where, oh, this wrestler sucks. Where it's like, no, okay, dusted himself off, decided to really take this seriously, and it showed, and now it's paying off. And I'm happy for him. Now the test begins. Now we'll see how he'll fare in front of cameras and whatnot. But he's got his shot, and I know he's going to take it seriously. He's going to make the best out of it, and good for him. And isn't it funny? And I'm going to close this little contract talk on this bit of the contract talk on this note. Isn't it funny that both Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, the instant, maybe not the instant, but it's only once they distanced themselves from working GCW that these guys suddenly got better, that these guys suddenly turned into full-fledged, well-rounded professional wrestlers that are being picked up by a big league promotion. Isn't that interesting? Ugh, TNA. TNA, there has been a lot of contract stuff happening in TNA. My goodness. We've got a lot to cover, but we'll do it. We won't, there's a lot of things we won't be wasting a lot of time on. But here we go. Nick Nemeth has announced last week on the lead up to the AMC show. By the way, Slam Hub Wrestling, nice to see you. Welcome to the show. Nick Nemeth has announced that he signed a new contract with TNA Wrestling. He announced this in the lead up to the AMC debut. On Busted Open Radio, the former Dolph Ziggler confirmed that he has signed a new contract with TNA. Nemeth called the decision a quote-unquote no-brainer and said he's looking forward to the future. He first arrived in TNA in 2024 under a handshake deal agreement and has been a world champion and tag team champion while with the company. I'm happy to be with TNA. My contract is signed, he said. Everything is official now. Nemeth praised the behind-the-scenes structure in TNA, including Carlos Silva, Tom Dream, and Hunter Johnston. That's Delirious, of course, for those of you wondering. He also spoke very highly of the work of Lance Storm, the work Lance Storm is doing for the company as a producer. Don't have much to add there. I mean, it's a no-brainer that I'd re-sign here. Yeah, because where else are you gonna go? WWE canned your ass because your contract was probably way more than they wanted to pay for, your level type of guy. So, instead of just like taking the low ball offer, he decided to fuck off, and I respect that. Don't get me wrong. He did his shot in Japan where basically he wanted to wrestle Hiroshi Tanahashi and he got it, then he fucked off. So, Japan's off the table. I don't think he wants to go back. Does he want to work AAA a little more? Maybe. He seems to enjoy it. Who else is going to have him? He's probably not working for cheap either. Carlos is probably all real excited to have a former WWE champion in his ranks. So Carlos is like, yes. Nick Nemeth is my fourth favorite IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. Mine too. Can you imagine? Wow. What a coinkydink. So, I mean, good for him, but I don't, it would have been a little shocking if that hadn't been the case. Just closing down these windows here. Jody Threat has also re-signed with TNA. TNA Wrestling announced last Wednesday that the Canadian talent Threat has re-signed with the promotion, continuing a run with the company beyond her 2-year mark. Threat, a veteran of the Canadian independent wrestling scene, joined TNA back in 2023, working alongside Danny Luna to form the Spitfire duo. Threat has put a pair of reigns as the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, and she's worked as a singles talent on the TNA roster. Following her split with Luna in 2025, she remains a busy wrestler in the independent scene as well, wrestling an extra 48 matches last year, along with her TNA commitments. I've always liked Jody Threat. I've always liked Jody Threat. I think she's solid. I think she's very good. This is one of these talents where years ago, this is one of these talents where even years ago I was wondering, why has no one signed her? Why has no one signed her? And even today I'm like, why is she stuck in TNA? I mean, she wasn't even featured on the fucking show on Wednesday. Your best foot forward is the Elegance brand versus the Iconics that are on their way out of the company. There's some contract news for you, right? The Iconics that you feature on your first show on AMC are out the fucking door. What would have kept them? What would have kept them being TNA, to make it a loser leaves town match and just have some fucking fun with it? Tom Dream and Delirious. Anyway. So Jody Threat still with TNA. So is Cody Deaner, aka a hometown man. He also revealed that he has re-signed with TNA. Deaner announced the news on the I Love Wrestling podcast, noting that it's all of these podcasts that get these interviews, and these are all places I have never heard of them. Never heard of most of these places that get these interviews. To be fair, I don't necessarily seek new podcasts out. I have my rotation set down and I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable with it. So, I'm not looking for any necessary additions. So it's fine. Yes. Yes, I am a snob. Diener announced the news on the I Love Wrestling. Okay, we said that. Quote, it's my personal goal in this new era of TNA to win gold. I mean, we've put our name on the history books of having this new era of new fans on AMC. How many new fans are we gonna? Anyway, I want my name in the history book that the hometown man has won a championship in TNA. That means I have to stay in TNA and have to be on the team. I actually have some breaking news. Hometown man has officially put pen to paper and I have re-signed with TNA Wrestling. So I'm officially re-signed with TNA. I am on the team. I'm ready to take TNA with the next level of TNA. This is sweet. So there you go. Good for him. I mean, I think he has a gimmick that works for TNA. It's a goofy, over the top gimmick, and if he gets over, if it gets over, WWE will scoop him up. So there you go. Cedric Alexander has also re-signed with TNA Wrestling. Fightful Select reported the news, but did not give any details on contract length or other terms. His deal was originally up around last October's Bound for Glory, but he's wrestled for TNA 8 times since then, most recently in early December. That was his last match anywhere. The 36-year-old made his way to TNA in June 2025, nearly 6 months after his multi-year WWE run came to an end. He's been active on the indies as well, competing frequently for Deadlock Pro and House of Glory, along with a few others. So there you go. I know a lot of people were disappointed that he didn't show up in AEW to do the Hurt Syndicate thing again. I will maintain my the same position that I have every time these types of situations happen. I don't want WWE gimmick reunions in AEW. I wasn't particularly excited about the Undisputed Era coming around again. That's for the other place. You got over in the other place doing the gimmick here. You don't have to bring it all over, right? The Hurt Syndicate, well, see, they came in as a tag team with their manager, and I was like, well, that's fine. It's kind of like the Road Warriors and Paul Ellering, right? That was the package, right? That's fine. It doesn't bother me. But like bringing back Cedric to do this as well, I'm like, okay, now we're getting I wasn't into it. So I'm glad we didn't necessarily go down that route. So, but I mean, good for him that he still has some work. Someone needs to work on the TNA branding. HTM, if the suit wasn't bad enough. I mean, I think that's part of the joke, right? That's got to be part of the joke. Beneath the Ropes podcast, yes. Always something about wrestling related in the term, right? And during the show itself, one of the big reveals, one of the big surprises, I'm still wondering if this was the surprise out of left field that they were promising, that there was going to be something out of left field that was going to happen. We had Daria Ray, Sonya Deville, who showed up to be an authority figure. Ooh, she's going to be involved in an authority figure feud against Santina Marella. Ooh, I got my my WWE Raw 2006 shivers. Ooh, nothing like continuing on 2-decade-old ideas and call them creative. Ooh. I've always liked Sonya Deville. That's not the point. It's nothing against Sonya Deville. I have always had a soft spot for her. I always thought she was very good in this role. But holy shit, is this really all they have? This is more of a reflection on the booking than on her. She went on the Busted Open Radio because, of course, and said she signed a 6-month deal with TNA and she feels it can become long-term. Oh boy. I signed a 6-month deal, I'll tell you guys that, but I plan on seeing it through. I sure hope you will, because if you don't, you risk a little something that we like to call breach of contract. I'm having a lot of fun. Everything is going great so far, and as long as it's a continuously mutually beneficial situation, meaning I'm adding value and I feel good about what I'm getting in return, then I don't see why it wouldn't continue long term. So good for her. It does bring up the situation here, as Chad has mentioned. 6-month renewal. It's like, oh, wow. A 6-month contract. What are we doing here? And there's rumors. There's rumors going around that a lot of these extensions, a lot of these re-signings are all for very short periods of time. I've even heard people getting their contracts extended for 2 months as opposed to a year, which is usually the thing. I've heard, I've heard that this is something that's going on, and apparently it's pretty systematic. That the people are getting re-signed for periods that are much shorter than a year. Now there are some people who are getting re-signed for a year. I think Mustafa Ali was re-signed for a full year, but not everyone is getting that opportunity. Now a lot of people are saying that's because TNA is broke. Well, I don't know if they're broke, but all of this, I have two ideas in regards to this, okay? I think on one hand, I'm not ready to say that TNA is broke, but I think this adds more credence to the theory that this is indeed an ad split. And I would, the deal that they have with AMC is what I mean. And I think that, of course it hasn't been confirmed, but it is, I think it's the most likely scenario at this point. Wouldn't you agree, chat? I don't, because they're not flush with cash. They're not suddenly like getting millions of dollars a year from AMC. Because if they did, well, they could be signing their talent to longer deals. They could have upgraded their tech for the show so they have a better presentation. They could have used that money for a lot of things. They don't have the money from the deal because the deal is an ad split. It's a revenue split. Which again, I say this every time. It's fine. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that they got a bad deal. This is a typical deal that even AEW got when they started off there on the old Turner network. They got the ad split. It's the network saying, let's try it out. Let's see how it goes. And then we'll see how the cards fall. Of course, in AEW's case, the ad split deal was torn up fairly early in their relationship with Warner Bros. And they were like, we want to give you guys a better deal. We want to lock you guys down because you are doing tremendous business. Will AMC do the same thing with TNA? I don't know. Well, let's revisit this in a couple of weeks. Point being is that TNA, without necessarily being broke, they don't have an influx of new money. That's the point I'm trying to make here. They don't have the influx of new money to make all these sweeping changes, right? So that's like the first part. But the second part is, and hear me out here, and I think this might be the one that this might be the strategy here. They might be waiting just for AMC to drop the ad split and give them the media deal. Like maybe like they feel like within 5 months, within 6 months or whatever, AMC is going to upgrade the deal. They're going to upgrade the deal within 6 months or so. And then everyone who's on these short-term contracts then will be able to renew their contracts with better terms. You see how that goes? It may be. This is just a maybe. Or maybe in 6 months is when they get their first ad split payment, or in 3 months or whatever. And maybe once they get the ad split payment, then they can extend the contracts. Then they can see what kind of money is going to be coming in and so on and so forth, and plan things out better. Maybe it's a little touch and go on that end right now, just waiting for money to come in. I think that's the strategy. More than I have a feeling that's more of the reality, as opposed to them being broke. Now, look, it could also mean that they're broke and that they absolutely need this money and they can't pay anyone past a certain date. And they absolutely need, let's say, the ad split revenue on this date to be able to extend people further because they don't have the money past a certain date. That could absolutely be a possibility as well. But we don't know. We don't know anything. Everyone is really fucking tight-lipped about all of this here. Everyone, even people, even like insiders in the TV business are tight-lipped about it. Like, forget the dirt sheets, forget Meltzer and SRS and the rest, right? And Mike Johnson, forget those people. I'm talking Hollywood Reporter, Variety, People Magazine. Maybe not People Magazine, but like the trades. Like, not even people who aren't in the wrestling bubble are leaking this news to the Hollywood Reporter saying, hey, you know what? AMC's new deal with this wrestling company? Yeah, I got the deets for you, No one. Is it because no one cares? Could be. Could be that no one at the Hollywood Reporter is looking to ask because they don't give a shit. It could be. It is TNA after all. But it's curious. All I'm saying is that it's curious that it hasn't even been leaked by, non-wrestling affiliated television media, which is something that could be leaked. Just like the WWE deal was leaked. Just like the AEW deal was leaked. It wasn't Tony Khan who announced the details, right? They were leaked. All of this was leaked. And a lot of these things are leaked on purpose. You know how that goes. Anyway, that's my take. Being broke could be an option, but I don't think that's what it is. I think TNA is waiting for money. I think TNA is waiting for the cash to come in. That's mostly it. Elena Black also showed up at the TNA on AMC show, to the shock and dismay of everyone. And was this the out of left field signing? Like, they announced that there was going to be a debut, a out of left field debut, and I haven't figured it out. I still don't know who it is. Because to me, out of left field would mean something so surprising and impactful because of the surprise. I was like, oh shit. Okay, this is indeed out of left field. Was it FKA Sonya Deville? To a degree. I don't know if it's impactful. It's a fun little signing. I'm glad for her. It's not something where I go, holy shit. Was it Elena Black? It's Elena Black because no one expected her to be wrestling against her. Sure, because she's supposed to be retired, and yet she shows up here, and And yeah, she made her debut for the promotion following a sabbatical from pro wrestling. Didn't she use the term? I don't remember what the term was. Did she use the term retired? Her Wikipedia is still Cora Jade, which is hilarious. She was taking a sabbatical from professional wrestling. Okay. I thought she had retired. My bad. She did say a sabbatical. Fightful Select is reporting that she is a full member of the company's roster moving forward and signed for a 1-year deal that will take her through 2026. So she got the full year deal. Black was formerly known as Cora Jade during her run in NXT, holding the NXT Women's Tag Team titles at one point. However, she was released in May of last year, along with other WWE and NXT talent. After her no-compete was up, Jade made appearances in the independent circuit until July, where she decided to take a break from professional wrestling. Quote, "It is no longer good for my mental health, and I'll never know if that love for it I once had will return if I don't step away. I'm going to take the rest of the year off to take care of me and go from there." So there you go. I mean, again, like, I don't know what Cora Jade brings to the table. I don't think she's very good. Yeah, I don't think she's very good. So, perfect addition for TNA Pro Wrestling. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Good for her. Good for her that she's got a job and that she has one of these, that she actually has a contract for a year. But of course, Carlos is going to lock her down because she's a former WWE wrestler. The Righteous have also locked up a tag team contract. Dutch and Vincent told Denise Salcedo on Saturday that they have signed with TNA. They are scheduled to challenge Matt and Jeff Hardy on tonight's pay-per-view on the Genesis show, which is already done, which from all intents, from everything I have heard, was an awful show. Again, maybe not as bad as the AMC debut, but was a bad wrestling show. The Righteous are here in TNA, and we're excited to see what happens for us in TNA. Everything that we're doing right now with the Hardys is really exciting and is going to play out even bigger, Vincent said. Here to stay, Dutch added. Wow. TNA wrote later in a press release, Righteous made their jaw-dropping arrival in TNA Wrestling in December at TNA Final Resolution as they confronted Jeff and Matt Hardy, leading to a series of cryptic mind games with the TNA World Tag Team Champions. And here's the great part. Here's the best part. The best part in all of this is that Matt Hardy is going to have two guys who are going to be very excited at the prospect of doing a broken Matt Hardy universe match, right? These two guys are going to be into it. They're going to be super duper into it and going to be, yep, whatever you say, Matt, we're into it. We should do one of those. And it's like, Brother Nero, I knew you'd come, and all, and the boat and the drone and his father-in-law. What was his name? What was the name? He was the groundskeeper. His father-in-law. Fuck. Senor something, right? I don't remember. But all of that stuff. Yes, TNA fans are clamoring for Damascus. I just realized Danhausen is a perfect fit for TNA. Danhausen, I don't think he wants to do the goofy shit anymore. Senor Benjamin. Thank you, Slam Hub Wrestling. Senor Benjamin. Yes, this is the universe that the Righteous want to be a part of now moving forward. I'm sure if Matt came up and pitched them the idea, they'd say, yes, whatever you want. The JDC wrestled his final match at Genesis. Yes, I will watch this. I will watch a wrestler retirement match. I know what the spoiler is. If you don't want spoilers, put your fingers in your ears or something for a second here. In a competitive match at Saturday's Genesis pay-per-view event, Eddie Edwards defeated JDC in what ended up being an emotional back and forth match. Who wrote this? Brian Rose. What are we doing here, Brian? Although JDC kicked out of one Boston knee party, Edwards followed it up with the Die Hard Driver and went to the corner for a second. JDC, seemingly accepting this was the end, instructed Edwards to follow through. Apparently they did I'm Sorry I Love You, is what I heard. And that's extremely cringe. And I hate it so much. Yeah, the thing with again, whether they did it or not, okay, this mini sidebar that I'm going to go on here, whether they did it or not is not the point. The point that there has been multiple people who have done the I'm Sorry I Love You or a derivative of, right? And what sucks is that when Shawn Michaels did it to Ric Flair, it was a legitimate, authentic, heartstring pulling moment where you're like, fuck, it's like, ugh, and it really did hit you in the gut, right? Now everyone fucking does it. Now it's rote. No one gives a shit anymore. Now it's just like, oh, tee-hee, they did the thing, and it's like, it's been overdone. So now, of course, it's meaningless and it just lost its, part of the pun, flair. It's lost its emotional weight because everyone now wants to do it or have it done to them. Obscurity Knox, nice to see you, pal. Welcome to the chat. Also happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. I want someone to say, find your smile. See, you do that to Shawn Michaels. Here's your smile. Super kick. I found your smile. Slap. Yeah. What do you want me to say about the career of JDC? I don't know. I've got nothing for you. I mean, perennial mid-carder, fine wrestler, comedy guy. He's had a long, sustained career in the world of sports entertainment, and he's extremely lucky, and good for him. Hopefully, he was smart with his money. We got another guy here, former AEW wrestler, competes for the international title on TNA Genesis. You got KJ Orso show up. The fuck is a KJ Orso? Formerly known as Fuego del Sol. I wanted to say Samurai del Sol. That's another guy. Fuego del Sol. He was the mystery fourth participant in a four-way match for the international title that took place during the Genesis pre-show on Saturday. He was unsuccessful in winning the title as he took a pile driver from Eric Young and was pinned by champion Stax after he dumped Young. Because, of course, that's the only finish you can do in multi-person matches these days, is have the babyface hit a finisher, but then the heel champion run in, toss the champion toss the babyface out of the ring, and then steal the win. Like, that's the only finish that you can do now. So, during the match, commentary noted that this wasn't Orso's first time in TNA, and had previously wrestled as Fuego del Sol on a Twitch stream back in 2019. Jesus, the Twitch days. Does anyone remember the Twitch days of TNA? Those were fucking surreal, especially because you didn't get commercials. Instead, you'd cut to Don Callis, like, talking about the events that just happened, reading some chats, or what's her name? Brian Cage's wife. Shit. She was an interviewer in TNA at the time as well. I can't remember her name now. I'm drawing a blank. Those were some surreal days watching TNA live on Twitch. Anyway, since leaving AEW in 2023, Melissa Santos, thank you. Delightful lady. Since leaving AEW in 2023, Orso has continued to work the independent scene, including for GCW, which he wrestled for following his TNA appearance on Saturday. Last year, he lost a mask versus career match against Atticus Kogar at Joey Janela's spring break event during WrestleMania weekend. 1 month later, he resurfaced without his mask and turned heel, now going under his given name. No note as to whether or not he signed. But yeah. Another guy where I'm like, good for him. Another person to show up here on TNA. So it's been very busy. And then we have little update here, courtesy of Mike Johnson on PW Insider. The word making around is that TNA champion Steve Maclin has come to terms with TNA and what is described as an extension on his existing TNA deal. We do not know a length. Maclin is currently taking independent bookings through April. And then there's the Cedric Alexander news. I would not be surprised if Maclin is one of these dudes who has a very short extension, a couple of months. I would not be surprised. So that does it for TNA, who are hiring right and left and letting people go and so on and so forth. Callum Newman has a signed and sealed deal. Weren't expecting him to be rushing out in front of the pack here with his New Japan contract news. Got Shota Umino, who's locked down, and now Callum Newman has signed a recent multi-year deal with the company. In a backstage promo over the weekend, Newman, who is currently feuding with David Finlay, bragged about being the only foreigner who is under a multi-year deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's a shoot. He also sent out a tweet stating that the contract is signed and sealed. So good for him. Newman is the leader of United Empire, a New Japan faction that Ospreay once led. Ospreay made a surprise appearance at New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Year Dash earlier this month and offered to help Newman and United Empire get through the rough patch they're going through. Newman didn't seem too interested in his former mentor's offer. He went to hit Ospreay with a steel chair before the rest of United Empire stopped them. So there you go. Keep an eye out for Callum Newman this year. This is going to be a very big year for him. Remember that most contracts in New Japan usually are for a year. Shota Umino was re-signed for a year. But when I say most, I mean the guys that they're really serious about, they'll lock them down for a year. So Shota Umino, who is a guy that they're fairly serious about, they locked him down, but for a full not lunar cycle, but a full rotation around the sun. That's how astronomy works. And Callum Newman has a multi-year contract. And yes, it is a multi-year contract. Multiple years that he's been locked into New Japan. They want to make something out of him. They see a lot of potential in him. And if things go everyone's way, this is going to be a huge breakout year for Callum Newman. Very, very big year for him. If you have any betting pools open, I would say don't gamble. Save your money. Buy yourself a nice meal instead. But if you insist, put some money on Callum Newman having a really spectacularly, well, maybe not spectacular, but a very, very, very good year. The funniest thing about that heel stealing pin finish in a multi-man match you were talking about with Stacks was the same finish Joe Hendry somewhat did in his match with Moose and Cedric, and he's the babyface. It's like, it's so dumb. Anyway, yeah. Keep an eye out. I'm telling you. Trust me on this. And then I don't have a thing for it, but I had heard some things regarding Sonata in regards to his situation. He was basically, what did they say? He was going to be on hiatus from New Japan, and people were wondering where he's going to show up next. And I had been told some things that I didn't want. It wasn't. I didn't want to put out there because, look, I'm not a scoops guy. That's not what that'll never be what I want to do. I don't want to break news. I don't want to, give advanced stuff, about wrestlers and, things that are, that have a very private nature to them. That stuff I don't want to do. But the news is out there now. There's people that have been talking about it openly. And it turns out that Sonata might be done with pro wrestling. He apparently is he's injured and he might need to have neck fusion surgery. So that's very fucking serious shit. And that's why I didn't want to talk about it, because it was a health issue. And I don't want to talk about health issues unless it gets leaked by someone else, unless someone else talks about it or the wrestler addresses the issues themselves, right? Because I had heard that, a bunch of things, there was speculation that Sonata just might want to come back and work in the United States, because I think he's been wanting to work in the US for a while. Bunch of reasons haven't been working out. But no, it's not just a thing where he wants to continue working in the US. There's a chance his career might just be wrapping up, or that he might not be able to wrestle as much or as he wants to moving forward. And even though Sonata is not my favorite pro wrestler, that sucks. That sucks, because I want professional wrestlers to be able to have agency over how their career comes to an end and whatnot. And when injuries catch up like that, it fucking stinks. Like, there's no way to go about it. There's no two ways to break it down. It just stinks. It's awful. And I feel really, really bad that it may come to this. There's still possibilities that it might show up and wrestle with Naito and Bushi there with the Tranquilo crew as a mystery partner. And, you might be able to get away with that without taking any bumps or whatnot, in a multi-man match, for instance. And he might be able to get away with that. But, it's not sustainable, and he might need the surgery. And look, it sucks, and we wish him the best moving forward. Again, not necessarily my favorite pro wrestler, but this kind of stuff really stinks. This kind of stuff really stinks. No negativity, but Sonata's physical state was not good and a little concerning. All the best to him. Yeah. But I don't think anyone really realized how bad it was. That's the thing. Mr. Warren Hayes is not about sensationalism. He's about facts and figures. Oh, we can get a little sensational here once in a while. I like to get a little sensational now and then. Oh, and Matt Taven might be heading to the NWA, but that's still a rumor. But I mean, if he does, good for him. Like he'll do great. He'll legitimately be great in that environment. good for him if he's able to secure that down. If he's able to lock that down, that's tremendous. Funny as hell. Who knows? He might be able to fill Madison Square Garden up for the NWA just like he did a few years ago. What about EC3? No EC3 news? No, you see, he's much too important. He's much too big. And the funny thing with EC3 is that he likes to talk. He is the guy with the least contributions who talks the most about his little contributions. But he likes to promote a narrative that he is like this untouchable force of nature. Yuck. Yeah, sent back down to OVW. We're going to have flashbacks. I want wrestlers to be able to retire and still be able to have a good quality of life after their in-ring career ends. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, like the fusion surgery will probably allow Sonata to, not be in pain all the time. I'm assuming like he's constantly in pain, right? And it's dangerous too. It's your fucking neck. But he won't wrestle. There's a very good chance he'll never wrestle again. But maybe he's ensuring then that he'll have a proper quality of life after, We'll see. Anyway, so we got through all the contract news, folks. Until we reconvene on Thursday and there's a whole bunch of other contract stuff to talk about. That's a podcast in and about itself right there. With just contract news. It's fun. I like this time of year. I'm not complaining. I'm not bitching. I like contract season. It's exciting. Keeps everyone on their toes. Lots of movement, lots of changes. Those are all good things. These are all good things. Very excited to see how things are going to move forward. And what else is still in the cards, right? Because there's a few people in AEW whose contracts are up this year too. And I wouldn't guarantee that they will be re-signed. I wouldn't bet the farm. We'll see how things go. Voila. So there you have it. We're about done for today. Tonight. Ooh, it's 10 after 10. Been on for a while now. Gonna let you guys go off and live your lives. You can do it without me. So I'll be back on Thursday. Well, of course, Mr. Warren Hayes show on Wednesday. Thursday, the Dynamite review. And then Thursday evening, back with another live stream. As a reminder, my TNA on AMC debut review is available right now for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So if you want to give that a listen, the link is in the description. I did not plan on doing one. My conscience talked me into it. So there you go. So there you go. Ever since Uncle Dave started taking down Free Observer radio streams on YouTube, Mr. Warren Hayes is my favorite wrestling podcast. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And going from Dave to me, what a fucking downgrade, but I appreciate it. But I appreciate it, don't get me wrong. Spoiler, it's just Warren vomiting for 10 minutes straight. It's great content, though. And I was talking about my podcast rotation earlier. You guys want to know what it is? It's really simple. It's really simple. It's the flagship podcast from Voices of Wrestling, Joe and Rich. It's the Trish and Sarah podcast. Then I've got the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, Jesse Collins. Then I've got I got the boy Fred and Taylor from the Good, the Bad, and the Hungry podcast. And then then there's a rotation of stuff. Music on the Mat. It depends. A lot of them don't necessarily record frequently, right? But you've got Open the Voice Gate. You've got Music on the Mat, Music of the Mat. Those are some of those that then I started adding to the rotation. Between the Sheets. I haven't listened to a Between the Sheets podcast in a while, but those are some quality pro wrestling podcasts. If you ever wanted to expand your horizons and realize that I'm a chump, you can go check those out. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like Tunnel Talk. Trish and Sarah talk a lot about Tunnel Talk. Oh, and the Super J Cast. I love the Super J Cast. Speaking of music of the Mat, where's that album, Mr. Warren Hayes? Hey. Coming. Don't you worry, pal. When we're talking album, we're talking playlist, right? I am no musician. I'm a lot of things. I am not a musician. So there you have it. Thank you all very much for showing up, for being here. I appreciate it tremendously. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. We'll come back to do some happy hours on Thursday and break it all apart, and you'll see it'll all be worth it. Yeah. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Thank you for being here. Just simple as that. I'll see you next time. How about that?